Ryan made over $300,000 in his first year in roofing sales. And what you're about to watch is Ryan's story. It truly is wild and inspiring because Ryan, like many people who come into this business, are unsure if it's legit. They want to kind of dip their toe in the water, keep the other job, do this part-time. And like many people who are unsure, he wishes now that he went all in way earlier. Now, the coolest part of Ryan's story is how he shares the mindset that he had to carry him through when things got tough. By the way, this isn't all just, hey, everything went great, I made a bunch of money. Ryan faced challenges, but now with the mindset he has and the day-to-day strategy he follows, which he shares in this video, he has been able to increase his income. In fact, he sold 2 deals in one day, totaling $617,000. And during this interview, he's actually sitting in front of one of those projects. So you'll see it as you watch. I'm so glad to have you here and can't wait to jump in. If you're new, welcome. If you're not, welcome back. Adam Bensman here. And everything I do on my channel is designed to help you and your team outsell, outgrow, and outcompete the rest so we can stomp the scum out. Now let's get started.
Roofing sales is personal development in disguise, and the reward for growth is life-changing. I hope my content helps you create a richer life and bank account. Man, first of all, I don't know who's more excited, but I think it's probably me.
Nah, it's me.
This is awesome, dude. So 2 years ago, I get an email from you, and I've got it pulled up. And you said, I just started following you roughly a year ago, decided to try my hand in the roofing industry at the very beginning of 2022. You kept your full-time job. You sold part-time. You made the transition. You said you wish you'd done it sooner. And you said, I'm going to smash my income goal, and I owe a lot of the success to you and your program. I started out and still implement direct mailing to my daily and weekly habits, and it works for me. I work every install, and I generate more business from those that ask for referrals. And I love what I do. I can't wait to see how 2023 goes. Fast forward a year, I get another email from you, and you say, I've smashed my income goal this year, 300K plus, and still have a couple months left. And you said, it's my first full-time, my full year in roofing, and it's been a blessing. And then I get an email from you 10 days ago, 11 days ago now, technically, selling 617,000 in a day. What the hell?
Yeah.
I need to hear this
Yeah.
whole.
No, I wish it was a snap of the finger that it happened, but
It never is.
it never is, and that's some people that I work with, they hear that number, they're like, "Holy cow, you made a yearly salary in a day." Well, that's not the case. You got to put the work in.
Yep.
So yeah, I started back in 22. The company I was working for, we closed all day Saturday. It was actually. They didn't want anybody working on Saturday at all. It was just from the owner's perspective. But so on Saturdays, I took it upon myself to go out and getting mailbox numbers, addresses, and stuff like that. So I remember watching your videos before I ever got into that, and I had the nerves about going to people's doors. So I said, I'll just mail them. How about that? I'll just send something in the mail. Well. I think I picked 20 mailboxes or 20 houses to begin with. Literally the first time I ever sent mailers out. I think I only sent 20 out. And I got a phone call back 2 days later, and I didn't even have a company that I was technically working for yet. So there was no roofing company on the letter or anything like that. So the company I'm with now, I contacted the guys and asked them, how they felt about me selling through them. And it was an old friend of mine, had met years back and had a lot of respect for him and kind of kept an eye on what he was doing with his business. And I'm lucky to still be here. It's a great company. But anyway, yeah, I got a phone call back. I didn't even have a roofing company that I technically worked for at the time, but went out, as the company I'm with now with Jayco, and filed the claim. It was an older 3 tab that had plenty of wind damage on it, and filed the claim, and it got approved, and it happened within a few days, and an adjuster didn't even come out. They just asked for photographs, And I said, this can't be this easy. I got to keep doing this. And obviously, not every claim's that easy. Not every roof replacement's that easy, but that
Yeah.
got me hooked. I, uh, I, I fell in love with it. So Saturdays, I, I look forward to waking up on Saturday morning to go out and get those addresses and knock on those doors. And that first install that I worked, I think I got, 6 to 7 more roofs off of that. And it just snowballed and snowballed and snowballed. So yeah, towards the end of 2022, that's when I finally said, you know what, it's time for me to go all in. I'm kind of hindering myself by trying to balance the two, and I haven't looked back. So I owe a lot of it to you. There's been many late nights I've stayed up and watched you on YouTube. So it's pretty cool to do this with you.
Yeah, well, thank you, man. I'm truly honored. I know when we started this thing, I said I don't know who's more excited right now, but I think it's me, and I mean that.
Nah.
The cool thing, obviously, we get to work together now inside the Roofing and Solar Reform Alliance, which is awesome. But I want you to take us on a journey because there's so many people that get into this or that have been doing it that hear stories of success. And what we often focus on is how great it is. But what most people don't realize is like where we came from and what we had to go through to get there. So today, let's take everyone on a journey of where Ryan started before roofing sales, the journey through your learning curve, and then let's wrap up with the $617,000. Was it 617? I got to scroll through my emails again. I think it was 6.
Somewhere, yeah, something like that.
600,000 and change in a day, which of course took time to build. They both closed in the same day, which is awesome, but I want to get there. So, dude, what were you doing before roofing sales? And how in the world did you hear about this industry?
So let's go back to I graduated high school, went to college for a little while back in 2012 or 2011, 2012. I got in the office furniture business with a really good buddy of mine. His father owned a national furniture liquidation firm, and we sold to Fortune 500 companies all over the United States. But I started off by being the guy on the back of a box truck, just building desks and chairs and delivering it to offices all over Metro Atlanta. Typically, we would occasionally travel out of state, but I usually stayed inside the state of Georgia and inside of Atlanta. But once COVID hit, up to 2020, that shut down that whole industry. Everyone started working from home. No one was buying office furniture at that point. They sent everybody home. So I got into public adjusting. That's how I ended up in roofing. So I went the public adjusting route, and I did it for a year and a half, and it just, I liked fighting for folks, and I learned that side of the business, which it helped me going into the roofing side. But I made more friends with adjusters and everything else, more than I did battle against them, being a PA. But I was successful in that. I truly learned a lot. I just saw some of the contractors that were coming out to some of these jobs. I thought to myself, man, if they can do it, surely God, I can do it. So I was a PA for a couple of years, and it really wasn't what I truly wanted to do. Me having kind of hands-on experience with, I used to install and design cubicles and stuff like that back in the furniture days, and kind of a hands-on person. So I like to see the process from a customer really needing something all the way through the end to make sure they're taken care of. And you truly can't do that when you're just adjusting. So, a lot of the roofing companies I worked for around the area, would call, or a lot of them called me, but I truly, the Jayco contracting, which, like I said, was a friend from a while back, had started, and they've been around for 10 years. And I kind of went that route, and the professionalism here is bar none. And there's no one that compares in my eyes, but, I didn't expect to ever get into roofing. I'll tell you that. It's never been on my radar. Never thought twice about it. But
Yeah.
it's that's where I am now. But
So
yeah,
how do you even hear public adjusting to start there?
Actually, my uncle got me into that, and he got into it about the same time, and COVID was happening, and they were hiring, some salary, lower salary positions, and it was really my only way out to make ends meet at the time. It was nothing glamorous. I wasn't making a lot of money. I'll tell you that. It was a
Yeah.
middle 5-figure salary and maybe a little bit of commission if you could close out a fair amount of deals. And but like I said, I'd only did that for a couple of years. I just didn't see a long future in that for me.
Yeah.
It didn't sit well with my personality. It just didn't go along with what I felt like I was going to do.
So why did you get tempted to jump onto this side from being a PA?
Seeing, like I said, I saw some of the guys that I would run into. I could see it was lucrative. I could tell that. And I felt like I was putting in a lot more work on that end. And then, they would do the install, and, a couple of them would ask, how much did you make on that one? And I would tell them, and then they would tell me how much they made on the deal. And I'm like, well, gosh, man, I think I'm on the wrong end of this right
Wrong
now.
side of
I need to jump over to your side.
That's awesome, man. So you ended up going all in. You found a great company to work for. What was the hardest part for you getting started?
Getting started, getting that pipeline full, was my hardest, was the biggest hurdle for me. But I reverted back to what got there was I fell in love with direct mailing, and I think it was because I had such a great first experience with it. So I fall back onto that all the time, and I still do it to this day. Do I have as much time to do it? No. Is that an excuse? Yes. I should find time to do it. Because every time I do, I feel like I do at least get something out of it. The job I'm sitting in front of one of those jobs I told you about. We just started today. It's a 700 square installation, remove and replace. And this came off of direct mail. I sent this in a neighborhood. This has happened 2 years ago, right when I was first getting started. And you'll never guess it was a roofer that responded to it. He's like, "Hey, man, I got your letter in the mail. I used to be a roofer, but this facility keeps calling me all the time for repairs. And I'm not in it anymore. If you want to go help them, feel free. Go knock yourself out." So 2 years ago, I came out here and I've done small repairs, here and there, and kind of try to bend Johnny on the spot whenever they needed something. And, the day has finally come where they said, "You know what, we're tired of chasing leaks. Let's just put a new roof on this thing."
Yeah.
So,
Can you grab your camera and give us a sneak peek out the
yeah.
window?
Yeah, let me see if I
So
can.
cool.
So we're starting on the backside now. I don't know if you can see some of the crew there, but I mean, it goes down as far as you could see that way. And there's a whole other phase on the other side. I don't know if you could pick it up on camera or not.
Yeah, we see it. Crews tearing off right up against that parapet wall.
Yep.
Yeah, man, thanks for showing us around. Seeing is believing. And by the way, I had no idea until we met, because I know when you emailed, I said, "Man, would you be willing to share your story?" I had no idea you'd land this by direct mail. So many people are resistant to direct mail. Why do you think it works so well?
I keep it short and sweet, honestly. I use some of the default letters that you have in the program, and I'll even take some of that wording out, or add to it. I mean, you got to tailor it to that specific area or that specific, project you're looking for. But I keep it short and sweet, and it's obviously it's not a piece of advertisement that they're getting in the mail and just wadding up and throwing in the trash.
Yeah.
Why it works so well, I don't know. You're the one that came up with it. I think you'd be better to explain that. I don't know why, but I fall back on it. It's honestly been a life changer for me. It sounds very cliche and cheesy, but I promise you, it has been, because I fall onto it more times than not.
Man, I'm happy for you. And I'll tell you why I think it works, but the reason I was asking you is you're the one using it. And when you said, and I don't know if I bet you a lot of people overlooked the golden nugget that you just shared. You said you have to tailor it to that specific property or community. And that's where so many people fall short, is they're looking for an easy win, right? Like, give me
Yeah.
the thoughtless system that takes no effort and is free and produces results. And it's like, sorry, man, but that doesn't exist. But
I
you can,
wish it did. Yeah.
yeah,
But
if it
that's
did,
not the case.
we'd all live on our own private islands if it did.
Yeah.
It's so much less competitive than any other landscape because people don't mail anymore. So we think of the message that's sent to someone as, I took all of this time and energy to personally send this to you. And then they read it, it's like, this letter was written for me.
Yep.
And it doesn't, anyway, it's clearly worked. I know Lucian, who I've interviewed on a channel, landed a church using one of the letters. It was actually, I think, one of the emails, the church email that was sent side by side, letter and then email, and the gentleman responded to the email. But I love it, dude. So filling your pipeline, if you were to give yourself advice when you got started about filling the pipeline and knowing what you know now, what advice would you give yourself that would keep you carrying through and not giving up?
I would say any moment of the day that you are up and moving around should be devoted to some type of income generation. Mailing, so I got in a really good habit of waking up, either driving to the office or going upstairs to my own home office and working on getting envelopes out, following up on emails, any time that you have during the day that you are not driving around, going from stop to stop, needs to be focused on income generation. It
Yeah.
sounds very elementary, I know, but it is the case. And I'm learning now. I'm starting to train some of our newer hires that are coming in, and I'm trying to beat that into their heads, because if you can truly put in the time and effort and treat this like a real job, which it should be taken as.
Yeah.
Some people don't take it that way. You will find success, and do not quit. You're gonna have your fair share of no's. That's gonna happen. And you're gonna lose out on deals that are gonna hurt your feelings. It's just part of the ball game, unfortunately. But
Yeah.
if you can truly focus on spending the time and energy towards income generation activity, you will find success. No doubt about it.
Yeah. I recently published a video. We'll put a link up above this as well, called the Money Making Schedule for New Sales Reps. And teaser alert. It's exactly what you could have
I
made.
need that.
Yeah. You could have made that video. With so many people like, well, I can only go out during this time and this time of 3 hours. Like, dude, you have nothing to do all day. Go
Right.
do income producing activities and find them, and then do more of them. And yeah, it might not be at the perfect time, but you have nothing better to do. So do you want a 5% chance at bat or 0? Because 0 is 0.
That's right.
You know?
That's right. I've told a ton of new guys this, and even some of the guys that have been there longer than I have. Anytime I'm knocking on a door, sending a piece of mail, sending an email, whatever it may be, that single action could be, a $5,000 commission. It could be a $10,000 commission. Heck, it could be a $50,000 commission. But if you're not doing that thing, that's a $0 commission every time.
And it's guaranteed.
And it's guaranteed. So my theory is, do as much as you can. When you get started, you're gonna have to do as much as you can to get it going. So don't be afraid to put in the time and effort, because it's only been 2 years for me full time at this point. And it's gotten me this far. Obviously, I'm not the world's best roofing contractor, but I'm not the world's best salesman. But I plan on keeping on growing. I'm not going to stop now, and I don't plan on stopping. So as long as you can put that mindset into action, I think you could become unstoppable. I mean, it's an industry that like I said, I never thought I'd be in, but it is so rewarding, and I'm so blessed to be in it.
Yeah. And you get what you put out. And I know that's also cliche, but there's a couple things on this cliche world I do want to circle back to. Before we do, I would be really curious to hear what kind of mantra you tell yourself from a mindset standpoint when you were getting going, that kept you going when you were here, when you weren't getting results? Because that's the sticking point. So many people need that instant validation. It's working, so I'll do more. But the sticking point in this business is you'll do all the things that are supposed to be working and they don't. And for some people, it could be months.
Yeah.
So as you build that
It's,
pipeline, like what's the mindset that you adopted to just stay on the gas regardless of that external validation?
I don't know why I thought this question may be asked, but it's so funny. Before you called me or before you hopped on the call, I'm a big golfer. I critique I'm a swinger. It's that sport is all about you. There's nothing else. It's a mind sport, just kind of like roofing sales. It's a mindset. And I wrote down a quote from Lee Trevino, which is a major championship winner. The more I practice, the luckier I get. And that kind of goes with roofing sales. Is the more you do, the more you're going to get. I mean, that's the translation basically into our business. I would say, but it's just like, trying to improve your golf swing. The more practice you put in, the more permanent it will be.
Yeah.
They say practice makes perfect. That's not true. Practice makes permanent is what it is. And that's kind of the same thing with this. And it's so funny that you asked me that question because I
Yeah.
wrote that quote down earlier.
I love that, dude. Practice makes permanent. And then what was the other one that you just read before that? It was the
The quote,
yeah,
the more I practice, the luckier I get.
that's what it was. The more I practice, the luckier I get. I that resonates with me. I feel like
Yeah.
more in life, it's like, man, I'm lucky. And then the analogy I often use is it's almost like you're out hunting. And if you know what game you're hunting for, and if you're there at the right time, all you got to do is squeeze the trigger when the game walks through your crosshairs. But so many people just aren't set up to capitalize on the opportunity when it comes in front of them. And I think the only people that end up getting lucky are those who are prepared.
That's right.
So that's awesome, man. So I want to read this email that you sent me and get into these two jobs. You said, "Hey, Adam, I just had two large jobs ink on the same day, just miles apart, just south of Atlanta, Georgia, thanks to the methods I've learned through your training. One job is $267,000 shingle roof replacement on a senior living facility that I got through a mailer that I modeled after your direct mail templates. That's the one we're sitting in front of now."
Yes, that's
Yeah.
that's where we're at. Yep.
And I'm an idiot. You did share that it
Nah,
was a direct mail thing. Like, I didn't know that till now. Apparently I did. I
nah,
remembered all the other
yeah,
details except that most
nah.
exciting one. And then you said another job is 350,000 residential slate roof that you signed by getting referred from an insurance agent. I never dreamed of signing over $617,000 in a day, but here we are. I truly appreciate your willingness to help others. Thanks again, as always. Dude, kudos. Walk us through. So you walked us through the senior living facility. You mailed that one. How many, was this just one mailer or was this a mailer plus a relationship that was built? How did this one shake out for you?
The senior living facility.
Yeah.
That was a mailer. Like I said, that this piece of mail found its way to a roofer that was trying to get out of the business. And
That's
said, "Hey, look, they're gonna these folks keep calling me. I don't want to deal with it anymore, and I'm not even in the business. So
yeah.
here's their phone number. Reach out to them. They're expecting your phone call and give them your information." Basically, threw me into it, but and all it was repairs to begin with. I'm sorry.
So this roofer, does he own this facility or was he managing the facility?
No. They would call him before to come out and do the repairs, but he was getting out of the roofing business altogether. So he just gave another roofer mails him, which was me, and he gives this information to me, and then shares my information with them. So,
No way. Okay. So the roofer got your direct mail at his home residence
that's right.
and you wowed him enough that he turned over this job to you because he didn't want to deal with it.
He didn't. Well, I don't know if he knew it was going to end up being a full roof replacement at some point or the other. But
Yeah. He's like, maybe,
yeah, maybe I messed up. I don't know. That was 2 years ago. They would call him to do small repairs and whatever they needed, and he was getting out of the roofing business, and he saw another roofer's mailer shows up. He gives their information to me, and then he gives my information to them, and
Wow.
and I've been servicing them ever since.
Man, these serendipitous deals are wild. I was just going through some old stuff of my own, and my one of the first commercial deal, excuse me, second commercial deal I landed. My first sale in the industry was commercial. The second one that I landed was all because I had this crazy customer, or actually, that's not true. They never became a customer. It was a prospect. It was from telemarketing. I showed up at the house and they're like, I called the telemarketer to cancel. We don't want you here. And being new and I was desperate, I was like, no, I'm good. I'm trustworthy. You don't need to freak out. I know we telemarketed you. And anyway, it was, by the way I share that was equally as terrible as my sales presentation when I was at the house. But I ended up gaining their trust enough. They wanted to do this remodel in the house. They're like, well, we're going to wait to do the roof so we can do a screened-in porch. Do you guys do those? And I was like, of course, I'm new in sales. I'll figure it out. And then I'm like calling general contractors, and I got this guy named Grant to show up to do a bid. I met Grant through that. Grant ended up referring me. I can't even count how much money, because I did all of his repairs. I did his roof replacements on his remodels, everything. He ended up throwing me 4 100 square buildings that were townhouses, massive hailstorm, O&P, everything. And he's like, hey, I own these. My point is, both of these situations, when you described the one I had, aren't trying to do it. It's just a byproduct of being out there and doing the work. And you can't calculate this. So like you said, the more you practice, the luckier you get. I love it, man. So the next one, you said another job is a $350,000 residential slate roof. You got referred by an insurance agent. Walk us through that one.
That one was as simple as it gets, to be quite honest with you. It was my insurance agent. So I bought a house back in 2021, put insurance on the home through an independent agent. And when I finally transitioned to the full, roofing, full time, I just reached out to him, just said, hey, if you ever have anybody that needs roof looked at, or an evaluation done for, renewals or anything like that, just reach out to us. We'll go out and check it out for you. By the way, you're insuring my home. So, I would like to have first dibs. So anyway, literally, probably, let's see, not very long after that, maybe 2 or 3 months afterwards, he calls me and goes, hey, you guys do slate roofs, tile roofs? And yeah, we've got some crews that handle that. We just had finished up one with another rep of ours, and so we went out and looked at it, and sure enough, she had some issues going on with a couple of leaks in different areas, and it's finally gotten to that point to where she's like, I just need a new roof, and I want to. She has concrete tile now, and they've just decided to up it to slate. So we just actually placed all those orders this morning. That's all coming in from Spain, so it'll be a nice install. But it was as simple as it gets. If you own a home and you have an agent that you're dealing with for your own personal property, I mean, that's not a cold phone call. That's an easy phone call to make.
Yeah, it is.
And that came from my agent that insures. And it was an easy selling point, because the same independent agent that's helping her is my agent too. So it was never. I honestly didn't have to sell that roof. It was just a referral of that, and I was there to help her out, and that was it.
Yeah,
it was an easy job.
That's amazing, man. It's been so cool, Ryan, hearing your story. And I just talked to Nate, a fellow member of the Roofing and Solar Reform Alliance, who had a 700, depends on how you calculate it, between 738,000 and just shy of $1 million month. And he had a super similar approach to selling as you do. And you nailed it in your email to me 2 years ago, which I have pulled up. You said, by the way, I just wanted to preface this. There's no ego. You're humble as hell. You're not saying I'm the best. You're not bragging about anything. You have this approach of do what's right, do a lot of it, and it will come back. And you said this in the email to me in 2022. You know the deal. Take care of your clients, and they'll take care of you. One sentence says it all. I love it.
Yeah.
So, Ryan, go ahead.
What I was going to say is, it's funny that you're bringing that email up from 2022, because the first roof that I installed once I transitioned to roofing full time back in 2022, the neighbor called me this past Friday. This was 2 years ago. And I spoke to the neighbor 2 years ago when we were installing the first roof once I moved to this position full time. And this was my only income.
Mm-hmm.
And he calls me Friday and he still had my information. And he goes, "Hey, you did my neighbor next door 2 years ago." I had all his information saved, so I knew who it was that was calling me, and but it's cool to know that happened 2 years ago and come full circle now. 2 years later, I went and signed him today. Sorry, Adam.
All good. So due to technology, we're back with Ryan. Ryan, you were saying that you had a customer from 2022 call that you signed up today, and then we lost you.
Yeah, so I was just saying it's funny how everything comes full circle, because the first job I did as soon as I left the previous position I was at, made roofing my full-time income. The neighbor that once we did the installation, I spoke with him, and 2 years ago, and he called me Friday. It's funny that I'm having this conversation with you, and I went back this morning to actually file his claim, and we'll be doing it. I've already gotten a phone call from the adjuster, and it's already approved. And it's just weird how that works out. It was the first job that I did full time in this position, and now I'm doing the neighbor's house. I just thought that was pretty neat, knowing that I was going to be talking with you today. It's just weird how that worked out.
Yeah, that is weird how that works out. So, dude, what would you say would be the number one most important skill for a salesperson to develop?
Be able to talk to anybody and about anything, honestly.
Yeah.
I feel like I'm a pretty open book with most folks, and I feel like if you can talk to anybody or overcome any type of objection that not most people, that some people may throw your way, how to handle that. And that takes practice. I wasn't the best at it to begin with, and it's taken trial and error for me to learn how to overcome some of those things. But be able to talk, be able to be personable, and be able to talk your way through some difficulties that may arise during that process.
Yeah. And how did you get good at that skill?
Practice, just like I said earlier. The more I practice, the luckier I got, but the better you'll get at it too. But practice, repetition. You're not gonna. You can watch all the videos and read all the books you want, and that's great. Don't get me wrong. That's great ammo to go out there and to learn things. But actually, I'm a person that learns, hands on in the field. I'm a kinesthetic learner, so for me, it's getting out there and getting stuff done and learning as you go.
Yeah. And I like when you said about practicing. Probably know I'm not a golfer. I'm probably like the only guy that's in the sales world that doesn't golf. But with golf, I mean, you're not just going to show up and expect you're going to play your best game or have the best swing. You have to practice. And sales is no different. I say that role play is for the bedroom, and sales practice is what we do as a professional. So we're not gambling with our livelihood when we are out in a high stakes game with a customer and our literal livelihood depends on it. So sage advice, man. Ryan, thank you so much for sharing your story with me here. And I want to, right before we wrap up, I want to circle back, as I said, I'd circle back to a comment you made about, hey, I should make more time for direct mail. Yes, ideally you would. And at the same time, we know, I'm curious your thoughts. Is what's your number one limiting factor for your income? Is it your ability to sell, or is it time?
It's time.
Yeah. Time is the limiting thing for everybody. And what's happening to you is you don't have time to do this. And I tell everybody, the program is like a weight loss system. You use it, and then once you're at that weight you want to be, or your fitness level or whatever, you don't have to follow the system. You sustain. You fall off, you don't get busy, maybe you gain some weight, whatever it is, you go back to the system. But the whole goal of the process is to get so busy that you can't keep up. So mission accomplished, man. You did it. You
Yeah,
can't keep up.
it definitely gets challenging, and it's a blessing to be, it's, and you hear the phrase, I'm blessed to be stressed. It's a blessing.
Yeah.
I truly love what I do, and I don't go to bed every night dreading what I actually look forward to waking up and taking care of some stuff and getting some things done. So I am truly blessed to be in the position I am, and I know that, and I think that helps me. It truly helps me to wake up in the morning and get the day going, because I know that I could be stuck doing what I was doing, 5, 10 years ago in an industry that is not as lucrative as this. Um, and I try not to ever lose sight of that, honestly.
Mhm.
So, I'm very thankful to be able to do what I do. And it's another goal of mine I told myself that I eventually I used to watch these testimonial videos, and I said, man, one day I'm going to talk to Adam. It's going to happen, hopefully, but
Yeah.
it's a goal of mine. And here it is. I didn't think it's a long road, but did I think it was going to happen? Maybe, maybe not, but it's really cool that it did.
Yeah, it is. That's friggin' awesome. I'm super pumped that it was a goal of yours. And the coolest thing is you never asked. All you did was reach out and express gratitude, which for the record makes me feel freaking awesome and it fuels my why. We have an internal chat on our team called Share the Wins. And when we see these, we take screenshots and share them as a team. We all celebrate. So when yours came in, I was so excited. That's why I responded to you in a little personal video inviting you to be here. So you got what you were aiming for without having to ask, which is
Yeah.
another lucky thing, right? Of just doing the work. So,
There you
man,
go.
Ryan, thank you so much, man, for being here. I just want to close on this one question because people ask me for book recommendations all the time. By the way, all my book recommendations are in the free training center. But your number one most influential book in your life, what book would you say that is?
Um, Honestly, I really fell in love with Robert Kiyosaki's Rich Dad Poor Dad. I know it's probably not geared toward our industry, but I don't know. That book makes you want to get up and get after it and make things happen, and it did for me. I don't know. That book resonated with me for whatever reason. I truly enjoyed it.
Yeah, it was a good one. It's funny. I was actually just watching Robert Kiyosaki on YouTube yesterday or the day before, talking about, I mean, his philosophy and why so many people are broke. Uh,
Yeah,
there's a lot of lessons for salespeople. So,
yeah.
Ryan, thank you so much for being here, dude. And if you want to stick around, jump into this video right after this. It's the money making schedule for new sales reps because you'll learn what to do, what Ryan did. And I'm going to break it down step by step to help you be successful. Ryan, thanks again, man, so much.
All right. Thanks, Adam.